Hello everybody, welcome to the Medyo Serious Talk Show with me, Red Oliero. And today, andito ang President of the Directors Guild of the Philippines, Keith Sicat, ano yun? Meron kayong ano ba? PGD? Ano yun?
DGPI.
DGPI. Pero hindi yung parang may suffix kayo sa dulo ng ano nyo.
DGPI. Yun yun. Directors Guild of the Philippines.
Lalo kapag nag-movies kami, tapos parang nakita ko sila Mico Livelo or sila Victoria Villanueva, pag meron silang DGPAs, talagang alam mo maaasar sila. Aasar lang talaga, DGPA ka pali.
May stamp of approval.
Pero welcome to our very non-serious but also serious talk show. Actually, I want to jump right into Senate Bill number 28 bill pa lang, thank God, the MTRCB Act 2805. It's actually yung gusto ko talagang pag-usapan. Pero bago tayo pumunta doon, let's do a little clarity lang kunwari. Kasi we've had Direk Joey Reyes here representing FDCP and you guys are DGPI. So anong difference din ng dalawa?
Well, difference of course is FTCP is a government institution, right? And they're really about syempre helping the film sector in its development. So ang dami lang ginagawa and they have a lot of tremendous efforts actually in the last few years which are really commendable, right? DGPI of course is a private association, we're a private guild, so we're made up of the directors of the Philippines, so mostly feature film directors. And the main thing that it was formed really about over 30 years ago by the likes of our national artists like Lina Broca, Ishmael Bernal, Marilo Diaz-Abaya. Matagal na siya. And the point really is to make sure we keep our vigilance with protecting freedom of expression.
That's great.
Because we have a history of let's just say curtailing of those freedoms, and kailangan nandun lagi kami to make sure that A, we don't forget, and B, for those who don't realize the danger that we're in, that we raise the alarm, like with this bill. I'm sure it's being sold as a very innocuous thing. But kung basahin mo lang, alam ko, dami kong kilala na bawat line, napapalpitate yung mga, napapalpitate sila, BP nila tumataas, people are losing sleep for weeks on this. It's really that bad, to be frank. We can dig into it more, but yun po yung difference ng FDCP, DGPI. And again, maybe you can say that we're the guardians of freedom of expression.
And making it non-government means it's an entity talaga that keeps our government in check. Kumbaga parang, the mere fact na you are a collective, non-profit, na talagang just safeguards, I think, yung quality or yung, at least yung platform natin to maintain its kind of like, how do you say this? Parang quality or parang yung environment of expression. Parang ganun. Ako, stand-up comedian ako. Recently, we've had a stand-up comedian killed for his jokes. So that's one of the things na talagang, wow, freedom of expression talaga is not for a democracy. It's not really, tawag doon, how do you say this? Welcome? Or parang, hindi siya, parang people don't know what it is. Alam mo yun?
I think what's clear, especially with that kind of horrific kind of example, which is very real, is that freedom of expression is a very fragile thing. And our forebears fought for this.
Yes, exactly.
And it's something that we should not give up and surrender so flippantly. I think some people don't realize it. Parang feeling nila, ano lang yan, di ba? But when hopefully in our talk we'll get into the nitty-gritty and we'll see, oh my gosh, di lang to para sa mga creators, di lang to para sa mga gumagawa ng pelikula or mga creatives. It's really for the regular citizen. I'm here as a regular concerned citizen first, right? And so yun talaga yun eh. Parang it will affect everybody in ways you can't imagine. And if it goes through, it'll be bad for a long time.
Bago tayo to like delve in that bill, I want to lay the ground lang on how freedom of expression here is in the Philippines. So I feel like as an artist, we're both artists, and when we do stuff, usually parang it's an expression. We're not really pushing like some kind of agenda or political agenda or parang kunwari, if we're gonna show people that are criminals in our work, it's not to say na, oh, pwede kayong maging criminal, mga bata. Hindi sila ganun. Alam mo yun? And even if you put out the honest to goodness to work, and I've had a joke, nakakatawa because It's a joke about Eraserheads that I performed in front of the Eraserheads. One by one, kasi hindi naman talaga, hindi sila friends eh. so there's like, these are like 4 separate gigs. Actually, 3 yung isa, hindi pala naka-anood. 3 separate gigs that I performed in front of Buddy, Rames, and Ellie. And they all laughed. But so ako parang, this must be gold. Nung pandemic, when we were having shows, I found footage of it. So I uploaded it. And then, thinking na, gusto ng banda, baka gusto rin ng fans. Hindi nila nagustuhan yun. Hindi nila nagustuhan. So may mga times na makakarinig ka ng, just because hindi nila gusto yung, ano mo, ang gusto nilang action is, oy, tumahimik ka na lang. Oy, umano na. Hindi nila alam, that's already kind of like encroaching on, though very mild, dahil comments lang naman, it's encroaching on your freedom of expression, di ba?
And ito nga yung problema dito, because the people who are pushing this, right, the sales pitch is, it's to, quote, protect our children.
Yeah.
Of course, who doesn't want to protect our kids?
Of course.
That's like this straw man argument, right? But the thing is, I think it's a very, very small percentage nag-iingay dyan to demand this.
Yeah.
At least that's what they're saying. I don't know who they are.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, though, you don't realize that you're actually giving up your rights for this. Parang kumbaga, bilang nga sa statement ng DGPI, right? We're talking about how this bill is acting as if the government's, parents patria, parang magulang ng lahat, di ba? And what you're doing is you're surrendering your karapatan mo bilang magulang to, raise your child how you want.
Yeah.
You're actually surrendering. You're turning the government into a babysitter.
Yeah.
Ang daming problema ng bansa natin.
Exactly.
Gagawin pa siyang babysitter. Parang please.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're not a very good babysitter pa nga eh. So, kumbaga parang, kung bibigyan ka lang ng, kung literally, kung maghahanap ka ng someone na mag-aalaga ng anak mo, tapos andyan yung tito mo, yung kapatid ng someone, best friend mo, or whatever, but at least may choices ka. Ito, you're like, ito lang. Alam mo yun?
And hindi lang yun this is what's so strange, because what you're basically, just to make this clear, no? What you're doing is you're allowing some bureaucrat policeman, basically, to go into your home, go into your private space, your home, your bedroom, your personal computer, your personal gadget, and kind of, loom over your shoulder. Tapos kaya niyang sabihin kung anong papanoorin mo, anong pwede mong ipakita sa mga anak mo, and you as an adult, you're not even a minor anymore. It's controlling what you have the freedom to watch. Imagine, why would you invite someone into your bedroom to do that? I don't think I don't want that, di ba?
Nag-worry lang ako kasi baka iisip nyo babysitter talaga yung ano namin. Bibigyan ko na ng context. Senate Bill number 2805, di pa siya batas. The MTRCB Act is basically an act na talagang that would give power to the MTRCB and its panel to judge what is deemable to be watched by people like us, not just on TV and the silver screen sa the big theaters, but also in streaming sites na alam naman natin lahat na doon na tayo mainly nanonood. So, you're basically giving power to whoever is appointed to judge these people. So, and nakalaan doon sa mga sa bill na yon na yung criteria, which is kind of like
the most amorphous criteria possible.
There are times na kunwari, if you're a fan of The Godfather, Narcos, mga ganyan, possibly, kung i-apply nila yung MTRCB Act, kung naging batas siya, there are parts there na parang sinasabi nila bawal yung content that glorifies criminals and criminal acts, di ba? But sometimes these are stories that need to be told para malaman ng mga tao na kung ano talaga yung nangyari at ano talaga yung mali, di ba? But, technically, if you are going to force those literature into reality, pwede talaga silang mawalan ng, or baka yung Narcos mo, 4 minutes long na lang. yung intro na lang, yung matitira at saka yung sumasayaw.
na lang doon. I mean, and to show the absurdity of this, well, maybe I'll backtrack muna.
Sige.
Just to give context, MTRCB, of course, is our classification board, no? This was, although it was formed in 1986, this is really a remnant of martial law.
Oh, really?
I didn't know the planning for it happened during martial law. Umpisa siya lang for Presidential Decree 1986, right? 1986, right?
Okay.
But kumbaga, it was being formulated prior to that. Okay? Remember, I think everyone hopefully will agree now that that's a period of our history we don't want to aspire to return to. I mean, alala nyo, just to give an example, remember, na-ban ng mga anime, ha? Na-ban ng Voltes 5 and all
Hindi nila pinalabas yung ending ng Voltes 5.
Yeah, di ba? Bitin lahat, di ba? And imagine, so maraming anime fans dyan, di ba? Imagine nyo, kung may power ulit ang gobyerno
to do that,
ay, hindi na pwede kayo manood ng anime na gusto nyo.
Yeah.
I mean, that affects everybody, right?
Because, alam ko naman mga nanood ng anime, may mga pinapanood kayong medyo mahirap panoorin. Medyo kakaiba. For sure, di nila maintindihan yun. Di nila maintindihan yung subculture na yun. I wanted to do this episode talaga because it's just a prime example of parang we are such a creative people, I feel like. Nung panahon na Manila sa Koko ng Liwanag, parang ina-idolize tayo ng buong Asia. Parang feeling nila, napaka-forward naman itong mga to. Swerte naman nila na meron silang Western influence. Parang ganun yung dating. Like I heard sila Quentin Tarantino would have like film reels of like Filipino films.
Yeah, Serious Santiago films and
yeah,
all those
yeah.
movies. Yeah.
So parang wild kasi this is a person na pag may Glorious Bastards, Kill Bill. Alam mo yun, parang yun yung nilook up mo, tapos bilang siya pala, idol pala niya yung Pilipino. So parang ang ganda pakinggan. So ngayon, parang nagkakaroon na tayo ng, we're very, very much, panoorin mo yung mga ibang episodes about movie industry namin sa Medyo Serious Talk Show. So it's a challenge na nga eh.
Yeah.
To churn out everything. Parang stacked against tayo. Whereas kunwari, the other countries are tawag doon, they have government agencies that support their film industry. And they feel like ito ang way to better economy, better tourism. Whereas tayo, parang ewan ko ba?
Oh boy.
Gusto ko yung malalim na hinga mo eh.
Yeah, I know. Let me bayalo muna. Hindi, ganito yan optics our optics for foreigners, even our neighbors. I'll give you an example. Nagulat kami, like during the pandemic, one of our board members was invited to speak at an event sa Malaysia.
Okay.
And they were surprised that they look up to us. Because like, wow, the way you guys defend, yung freedom of expression, parang ibang klase. We are a beacon, right? And here we are, and you're taking government institutions. You have institutions like the FDCP, which are working so hard exactly to promote these things. And then this bill comes in.
Oo nga eh.
This bill comes in that totally is, you mentioned Kill Bill. This bill will kill, okay? This bill will kill our film industry. Because ang dami na nga problema. It's very hard already, just to give context, no? It's already challenging for producers in this climate to even want to produce. Kumbaga, it feels almost discriminatory. Ang dami nating taxes, alam mo yan, there's almost no incentive to really to make a film if you're trying to make a commercial film to make money, right? And then you have efforts from groups like the FDCP trying to invite foreign productions in.
Oo nga pala, yeah.
Right?
Totoo.
Okay, may provision dito, right, that actually says that everything that's for export must go through MTRCB. So imagine mo, you're a foreign producer. You want to shoot in Southeast Asia. You want to shoot in Palawan. Diba?
So pati ganun. Pati production nila.
Dadaan yung footage and it has to be approved. And it can be disapproved. Yun yung point, right? So imagine mo, magsusugal ka na nga ng pera, ng malaking pera. You're bring jobs and money into the economy, and then you're going to have to pay a fee to have some group look at a small group of people.
Tama.
Look at your work and say if it's worthy
or not. Yeah.
And like that, they can say no. So parang if you're a foreign producer, you're gonna cross out the Philippines right away.
Wala na.
Why? Bakit pa?
Bakit?
Diba? Bakit? And we've had this happen already. I mean, we had 2 seasons of a US-based series, diba?
Yeah,
Shot in Cebu, right?
At Cebu, yeah.
And they want to be here. Phil-Am yung producer, diba? They really want to work here.
Pero
and
pinahirapan sila.
Pinahirapan, and look what happens. No season 3.
Yeah.
Sinong lugi na naman?
Exactly.
Tayo na naman,
It's
diba?
the same way sinabi nila bakit di duman si Taylor Swift dito. It's basically because mahirap mag-concert dito.
Infrastructure. And it's
infrastructure.
all those things, right? So bakit ka magdadagdag ng problema sa isang sektor na naghihirap na nga? And you have partner institutions that are doing their darndest to try to improve this.
When I was reading it, I didn't know that that's the case. Na if you shoot here, they'll also need to, parang you have to go through us then. Parang ganun. That's too much power, I feel like. Kasi And then also, hindi ba siya parang going against din yung policies ni President Marcos? Kasi parang, di ba sinasabi, they're really gearing the Philippines for foreign investments. And
Exactly.
honestly, alam mo, ang laki ng potential natin dyan because we all speak English. Di ba? We have equipment here, we have sound stages here, we have great locations here, we have great weather. 'Di ba? Na parang you can really plan out na, sure ball, hindi uulan ng February to ganyan. Sure ball, mag-shoot tayo na mag-shoot. Walang problema, 'di ba? Wala kang isipin na ganun eh. Nanatalo siguro tayo, no? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
Thailand
actually
must be rigging all this money.
Yeah, it's a multi-tiered problem. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe it gives you some context about that,
Yeah.
right? So thank goodness, like the FTCP has tried actually to add incentives for foreign productions. Yeah, they've
Good.
had, which is great, but it's not enough. Just to give an example, I think
Sayang.
our program I think is at 25% rebate, but there's a cap. It's only up to like I wrote the notes here like 400. Parang
Bakit?
25,000. I don't know why. I don't make the rules. But there's a cap. The point is make cap. And what that means is that you're basically cutting off the bigger productions automatically,
Tama.
right? Conversely, you go to Thailand. Thailand has an automatic 30% rebate, automatica, plus 15% incentives. You can get, imagine, almost half, 45%
Grabe.
goes back to you, right?
Oo nga.
So, sorry, our edge of speaking English, wala na yan.
Wala na
Okay,
talaga.
wala na yan.
Yeah.
But here's the alarming thing. I just found out that we're now losing gigs to Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
So parang, teka lang, we're way ahead of Vietnam
Exactly.
by decades in terms of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yung nga, the language barrier, wala tayong language barrier. So bakit? I think there is an issue here. It's not a question of talent, ha. I think we're spoiled actually. I think we take it for granted. We have so much inherent talent sa Pilipinas, mga Pilipino sobrang talent talaga.
Yeah.
We take it for granted. So I think it's a systems issue.
Yeah.
Right on this. So example, we should be talking about those things, right? Why are we wasting time talking about this?
Tama.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
there's so many other things that could be positive solutions. Ito, sagabal pa to.
That's a great point. Like, we could just be spending, kahit sabihin, it's an hour lang naman. That could be spent progressing and learning how to compete with our competitors, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi lalo na ngayon, I don't know if people know, it's very expensive to shoot now in Hollywood. So Hollywood shoots outside. They shoot in Canada, they shoot in Europe, they shoot in Asia. Ganun na yung trip nilang gawin. And that could be a window of opportunity for us. Pero kung ganito, medyo masaklap, ha?
Can I give an example?
Sige.
Because everyone is always looking to Korea as the model.
Oh,
diba?
yeah.
Okay. Let me explain why they're ubiquitous right now, okay? It wasn't because someone decided off the bat, we're going to be culturally dominant, okay?
Yeah.
This was a strategic planning exercise, okay?
Tagal.
So more than 20 years ago, this Hallyu initiative, right?
Yeah.
So napansin nila parang, bakit patok ng soap operas natin? Tapos biglang at the same time, multiple film directors, they're rising up. The Park Chan-wooks, the Kim Ki-duks, the very young Bong Joon-ho's, di ba? Parang, okay, there's a wave, let's support this. And yung ginawa nila was they made sure that all these sectors of entertainment voted in, meaning film, TV, music, food.
So talagang unite nila.
United sila, and they had this 20-year roadmap. And they did not deviate. Didn't matter what administration was there. They stuck to the plan. To the plan, and look, they're reaping the rewards. And here's an interesting thing: it's not just sticking to the plan. There was a very key thing that the government did in 1996, which helped facilitate this. In 1996, the Korean government banned censorship.
Oh, wild!
Imagine mo, binaan nila yung censorship.
Yeah.
That's wild. And here we are, it's 2025, and
our
senators are, I don't know what plan they're looking at or how they're looking at this. They want to go backwards. Imagine mo, the model is already there. Why on earth do we want to push the clock back decades? Decades, right? It's ridiculous. So parang, you want to promote these things. All these things are at odds with each other. There's no reason for it to be. It's absurd, actually. Komedyante ka. It's an absurd thing. This is a whole night show for you.
I'm tawag nun, when I heard about this, syempre, like marami adjacent ako to the industry, so parang nakita ko yung mga sinasabi ng mga tao. I was so taken aback because ang dami nating artista sa Senado na that benefited from this freedom of expression. And they know, kasi, alam mo yun yung bread and butter nyo, kaya nga nanalo na senador. And then nakita ko yung mga authors, may mga artista doon. So parang wala man lang nagsabi na, uy, teka lang guys ha. Parang wala man lang nagtanggol. Alam mo yun?
I won't mince words, okay? I won't mince words. Yung ginagawa nila, yung mga authors nito, na galing sa industriya, what they're actually doing is they're cannibalizing it.
Yeah.
Because they're not just gonna kill it, okay? They're gonna pick the bones and this is the industry they came from, and they're gonna squeeze it dry. And I really mean this because one of the main reasons why they're pushing this inane bill, okay? I don't care what they say. They keep on saying it's protect the children. That's a good T-shirt. That's a sloganeering thing. Okay. There's nothing in this bill that says diba? Nabasa mo yung bill, diba? That's like what even anong percent yun is actually about protecting the kids. No. It's not about that. It's really about control. At pangalawa, it's a revenue stream. I mean, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. That's really what it is. And they're willing to cannibalize the very industry they came from just to get a buck. Ganun lang yun. Okay.
Mga funnel sa kanila yung yung benefit di ba?
Ito yung weird, di ba sa bill, bago pa nga yung criteria, piniliwanan nila kung paano sa kikita dito.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost
may proseso
it's amusing actually. Wow, they didn't even bother to bury this in the page 35.
This is what will happen.
This is what will happen. And on page 7, they already say what the plan is, which is to raise MTRCB to an USEC level agency, right? Which means that they will get, I'm sure, a sizable annual budget from the government from our hard-earned taxes. Okay, so guaranteed na yun. And on page 8, line 1, the very first line of page 8, they're outlining already how all these board members, paano sa kikita dito? Their honorariums for every single piece of material, whether it's a trailer, all the way to a TV show, a movie, whatever it is. Basta dumaan sa kanila, ito yung mechanism.
Whatever you need to review.
Whatever they need to review. Okay? It's right there.
Yeah.
It's black and white. So whenever everyone says it's unfair, it's offensive, well, the bill's offensive when you read this, okay? It's a really appalling thing to read.
Ang masaklap is, can they even do something like that with kunwari Netflix, Prime, Max, ganun? Like, can they really say na, oy, Netflix, thanks for the money because vinat ka namin pero bawal mo na pala palabasin. Please dedicate a whole department to take out all of these changes.
I mean, that's why there's so many gray areas because half these streaming sites are not even, they're foreign owned, diba? So, but maybe can I lay this out? I'm going to lay this out really, really bluntly, okay? In a few, diba, kumbaga, when you assess something, you strike it out, diba?
Yeah.
There are so many strikes going against this bill. It's not even funny. Okay, let's just go through this. We can dig even deeper. So broad strokes muna to, right? So first strike, unconstitutional siya. Let me just begin right there. On on Article 3, Section 4 of our Constitution, freedom of expression is protected, diba?
Exactly.
And it's not just us. The UN Declaration of Human Rights also protects this. So parang doon pa lang, parang, teka lang, diba? Tapos na, right? So, strike 1 pa lang yun, ha? Okay. So, strike 2, and this is what we're getting to, the redundancy. Okay. Diba, all these streaming platforms already have ratings?
Yes, they do.
Is the MTRCB not already rating things already? Yes, okay. Now, if you have a gadget, if you are a person with a gadget, you have the means to put parental controls on this
Exactly,
thing.
okay? Nandun na siya.
So, nandun na siya. At yung mga streaming sites mismo, because of their ratings, they already have ways to you can also restrict, diba? On the site itself.
You can make a profile for kids lang. Alam mo, it's easy.
It's so easy, diba? A PG lang pwede para sa anak ko, diba? On this profile, right? Another one, access. Diba when you subscribe to this, right? You subscribe to the streamer. That means you have a credit card. Clearly, hindi ka minor, di ba? So, ang daming steps na nga, right? I mean, even just talking about the ratings, that it's kind of absurd. Now, okay, let's just say, but wait, we're protecting the children. Protecting the children tayo, di ba? Okay, may 4 na batas tayo that already fulfills those criteria. There, the Cybercrime Prevention Act, you have the Safe Space Act, blah, blah, blah. Ang dami na. May 4 na yan, okay? So ano mang dahilan natin? Bakit ba tayo gagawa ng isa pang batas? Dagdag pa dito. It's gonna tax, financially tax people, or strain people, sorry. Financially strain people. It's gonna add logistically impossible Parang it's a ridiculous thing, right? So which always begs the question. So bakit? Ano ba yung end game nito? And like I said, you see it on page 7, page 891.
The honorariums.
The honorariums. It's a it's a money making scheme. I hate to say it, but here's the thing, and I think this is one for the general populace now. So strike 3 na yan, diba, right? Strike 4 is that it hurts the economy.
Okay.
Flat out. So kung wala kayong makuha dito, wala kayong pakialam sa freedom of expression, all this stuff, right? Tatamaan yung economy natin.
Yeah.
And that's something that's very hard to recover from. Ang dami natin apocryphal stories, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to bring that back. You know, once you ruin the reputation, that is a decades-long process to try to get it back. God knows if you'll ever get it back. Diba?
We're limiting kasi tawag doon the work that comes in here, no?
Absolutely.
That's huge. 'Di ba? So parang ako hindi ko alam kung parang I've never sabi yung without using terrible words. Ang hirap. Pero
kaya mo yan.
It's such a tawag doon parang for someone na talagang gusto namin i-improve yung you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. Parang ganun yung nangyari. So, pero
there's no logic. There's no logic.
They consciously know that, right? They it's not like hindi ko alam na wala nang
Oops,
diba? Hindi naman, diba? Imposible.
Well, yun yung point ko is that's why I think wala sang pakialam. Because if they know this, that's why I use the word cannibalizing. Because if they know it and you know what you're doing, that's like, I mean, sorry, that's kind of Voldemort level action.
Evil,
it's really, it's really sinister. And the thing is, in the process, you're going to be stripping away people's rights.
Yeah.
And we know this because, we know this because of the wonderful, rich history of the MTRCB making really dubious quality choices.
Yeah.
Every decade we have an issue. Okay. I mean, I don't know if you remember, just to give you the absurdity, naalala niyo ba, Schindler's List?
Yeah.
Right? Holocaust film.
Yeah.
It's now considered a classic. Alam niyo ba na band to?
Ito?
Yeah.
Talaga?
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, ito nga yan, right? So, di ba? It's like what? Why, right?
Okay.
So Schindler's List, this wonderful film by Steven Spielberg, they banned it. Yung sinasabi nila, kasi may isang sex scene doon. I'm like, teka lang, I'm sorry ha. That sex scene you're talking about, there's many more that get through that are, I mean, sobrang lampas dyan. That is nothing, right? And I think the problem here is that I try to put my mind to the, bureaucratic reviewer of this, right? I'm sure they have a checklist now. And I remember that point, may mga parang ridiculous items eh. So example lang to. Let's just say, okay, on the checklist, pwede ang isang breast exposure. Okay lang yan. Pero dalawa, bawal na.
What?
Okay, example lang to. So I can imagine whoever was reviewing this movie saw the horrific scene of everyone naked in the gas chamber and said, ay, di po dito kasi nakubad sila. Alam mo yan, parang
12 breasts.
Yeah. I've lost count. My eyes are bleeding, And you realize, wait, so you mean to say you can actually ban this movie because of this checklist without any regard to the context. Right? And here's the thing too, and I want people to understand this. It says more about the reviewer who is getting irked by the exposure of too many private parts instead of the context that these people are going to die. Okay, the fact that they cannot see the context of this, they think that they are afraid someone will get titillated by the scene. That's weird, like that's a certain level of sick. No?
Kind of weird.
It's kind of strange. And I think it's a really, it just tells you how wrong this is. Okay, that was back in the 90s. No?
Paano pa ngayon?
Paano pa ngayon? I mean, we just had 2 years ago, senator who shall not be named. We're talking Voldemort here. Diba, tried to ban B-movie action film from Hollywood. Ban a film that was no longer in theaters. Why are we talking about this? Bakit ba? Why are we wasting time? And don't even get me started on Dear Santa. Okay, so alam mo yan, parang it's a consistent thing. But here's the thing, those things might be amusing side notes. But what's the real thing that they're doing here? The one thing they've also been consistently banning or trying to ban are documentaries.
Really?
Yeah. So, example, just last year, they tried to ban Alipato at Bog. This is a film about the search for Jonas Burgos. It's directed by his brother. Okay? And imagine mo, this is something. I mean, this is news. People have known about this for so long, since it happened in more than a decade ago, right? And why would you ban this, right? And here's what's scary. Obvious one. What people don't realize, they even tried to ban documentary shorts. In 2007, precisely when around the time that Jonas was kidnapped, a bunch of groups created an anthology called Rights, precisely just to protect people's rights, diba? And can you imagine this small group of indie documentarians making their, no budget PSAs, binan sila ng MTRCB. So that's the thing. Para you can
Nakakontrol mo eh.
Nakakontrol mo. So everything from these blockbuster films that they're, might be entertainments, to more serious fare, to the really serious fare, which is talking about real issues. That grip on control and what you see, that's not about protecting children. That's about controlling you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gets.
Diba?
And kunwari itong mga small films na to, when they get banned, nobody really kicks up a fuss or parang it just disappears. Wala ka ng chance.
Yeah, wala ng chance. I mean, it's a thing where, and that's the power they wield. They can imagine a room of 3 people. Yeah. Can decide your fate.
Okay. Malay mo, gumising pa ng mali yung dalawa. Diba?
Exactly. Hindi pa nakakape. Diba?
Mga ganun. Totoo. May mga ganun discard. Like, I was part of a film na medyo bastos eh. Diba? I'm Not Big Bird. And then, kabado sila when they were doing the MTRCB screening. Kasi, they didn't want to get rated a certain rating. Kasi that would ban them from certain theaters. Parang ganun. So, parang, wow, hindi ko alam na ganun. Kaya pala lahat ng adlib ko na bastos natanggal. Parang ganun.
Na-redub ka.
Nawala. Hindi naman. Pero ang nakakatawa is that, okay naman siya. Parang at that point, I think, nung time na yun, parang nag-gets nila, okay, yung kabastusan is rooted on comedy, hindi sa klase. Pero, that's still really a daunting I didn't have to go through it when I came out sa yung special ko sa Netflix. Parang walang MTRCB requirement or anything. Pero does that mean if they put this through yung buong catalog ng Netflix, they're gonna hire people to just like binge watch everything and
I guess so.
Count breasts, ganun?
Yeah. I mean, what a job.
Sign me up.
But I think you're hitting a really important point here, which is it's so arbitrary.
Yeah,
okay?
yun nga.
It's very arbitrary.
Sobrang subjective.
It's subjective. It depends on the mood. And here's the thing: looking at the vagueness of this bill, I would think the films of our national artists like Manuel Conde, right? Yung Juan Tamad Goes to Congress. Pwede yan tamaan to, right?
Yeah. Tama.
Late June Urbano's Mr. Shuli, yung Mongolian barbecue niya. It's a satire. Yeah. Oh, pwede pala tong tanggalin. So imagine mo, that's how absurd this whole thing is. That there is no limit to this. It's so broad, it's so vague, and you're at you suffer at the whims of whoever is there. A film is PG all around the world. Umikot sa mga festivals, iba't ibang bansa, every different regions. Pagdating dito, R18.
Yeah.
And then you cannot appeal.
Wala. So you lose like more than half of the theaters, diba?
No, everything. Kasi,
everything.
I mean, at that point, half the theaters because of the main one is of course SM. But imagine mo to, right? You can't appeal, and then you ask them the reason, right? And they'll say something like, ay, masyadong seryoso yung pelikula. Parang wala naman yung sa character niyo. Yeah, gets mo, di ba?
Totoo ba yun?
Totoo.
Oh my God.
That's forever etched in my mind because
God.
Huh? Di ba? It's crazy. And to think na parang, wait, so you have the right to make up a rule. Yeah. It's not even in your list of no's, di ba? And dahil trip nyo lang, pwede nyo gawin yan, and there's no appeal process. I mean, come on, man. Are we in a democracy? Last time I checked, we're in a democracy.
Tama.
That does not look like democracy.
Doesn't at all. Ayun talaga. Most people are online. We're very active online. We are very tech-savvy people. We're a nation na nagdedebate yung pamilya sa Viber. Alam mo yun, we're a nation na may group chats, may Facebook groups, nagre-reunion sa online and everything. We are subscribed to a lot of streaming platforms. And I think savvy tayo enough to work that parental controls in or bantayan natin yung mga bata na nag-aano or parang magkaroon ng way na maglagay na naka-built in na sa mga Netflix, sa mga apps na to. Why do you think na do they assume na walang, do they not know? Hindi ko alam, honestly. Why do they think that the children are
like I said,
being harmed?
No, they're weaponizing our kids against us.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Uh-huh.
I just said they feel it sounds like a playground parang complaint. And I mean, it's unfair. I mean, I can hear the whining. Okay. I just said you guys say it in the bill. It's unfair to call this out. I'm sorry, you guys wrote it on page 7 and page 8. You laid it out. We said nothing. We're reacting to what you were laid out.
Exactly.
We're not. This is not made up. This is not a fabrication. In fact, I think what this tells me actually, dapat ma-insulto tayong lahat.
Yeah.
Bilang Pilipino, okay? Because they think we have we don't have the reading comprehension to understand what they're trying to, the wool they're trying to pull over our
or
eyes.
the capability to limit stop my child from watching The Godfather and Narcos and whatever, diba?
Right, because until they're of age, diba? I mean, it's a thing where I think, okay, maybe I'll take a quote from our neighboring country. Okay, because in Malaysia, this is a Malaysian study, and this really hit me because it's exactly what we talked about in our statement, the parents patre, this parental control. Okay, quote, an idea of a moral community is used by political parties, state agencies, and individuals to project anxiety and to justify an interventionist and paternalistic approach to media content creation. This is on page 44 of the censorship and its impact on the screen industries in Malaysia. They get it.
Yeah.
So basically what this is, it's a smokescreen. You're going to make an issue where there is none. We already have a ratings board.
Tama.
It's a non-issue. It's an absolutely non-issue. You're going to raise a problem where there isn't one just to basically, you're going to weaponize our kids. It's not about, I just said, it's not about that at all. It's not about protecting the children. You read this bill, it's not about that. That's a smokescreen. That is the wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay? In fact, if anything, and if we're learning from all these models, diba, what's the ideal here? The ideal would be, look, we're not even, DGP is not against ratings. Because we have kids too.
Oo naman, tama.
Right, diba?
Tama.
Diba?
No, I mean, ratings are good.
Ratings are fine. Yung ayaw lang namin is the fact that they have X power. They have a censorship power. That's one. If you want to look at models, we said Korea already, diba? They banned censorship. Look at what happened to their creative economy.
Exactly.
They rule the world. They're ubiquitous, okay?
Oh, grabe.
We have other models. In Sweden, I believe, the Swedish Media Council, they have a system there. Only films for 15 and below need to register and go through the system. Because why?
Oh, wow.
They're for kids.
Okay.
We don't care if it's for adults.
Oh, yeah.
Why waste the time?
Malaki ka na.
Diba? Yeah, malaki ka na.
Malaki ka na.
Tama.
Tama.
Diba? Hindi ka naman hard did. Diba? You have the capacity to do this. We're not even gonna.
That's good. That's a good like. That cuts off like at least half of the work, diba?
Exactly. And the point is, there's also respect for the citizenry that they have the capacity. Pati yung mga Pinoy, huwag kami insultan, diba?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, if I mean, some people even call it. We're not even calling for abolition, right? But I mean, ideally, if you want another model, is that there are models in other countries where the ratings groups are private institutions like the MPA. That's not without its problems, but the point is, at least there are these systems that work. So my point is,
we don't need to start from scratch.
We don't need,
or come up with
we don't need
these things. Yeah.
Why are we trying to make a problem where there isn't one?
Yes.
Ang dami natin problema sa bansa natin.
Yeah.
Distraction lang to.
Yeah.
And the distraction, again, this bill will kill our industry.
Exactly. And maraming nagbibelittle ng industry natin as not important, like we're in entertainment. A lot of people say na parang, oh, ganyan, we are heavily pirated, heavily not paid for. Madalas ka makakita ng mga Reddit threads na nakalagay na, oh, panoorin ko ba ito sa sinihan or hintayin ko na lang lumabas sa streaming ko bago ko panoorin. And masakit siya as an artist to think about that. That's a very tough hill to climb up on. Pero at the same time, masaklap din na even with all these challenges, is dalagdagan pa ng challenge na ganito. Like, you might not be given a shot. Yun yung pwedeng mangyari sa'yo, which sucks. Kasi I think at the very least, if you're a hard worker and you work hard for your passion, you are at least, kasi mga tao na pa, you work hard, nagkasucceed ka. Actually, ang totoo, if you work hard, you're given a shot. Yun lang naman yun. So, I hope a lot of people are still given a shot. Or, do you think this is far from getting passed, or anong response nila to it?
Well, this is one nice result was because this bill was kind of passed, snuck through in the dark hours of the evening. Nagulat kaming lahat, right?
Oo nga, biglaan.
Biglaan, because usually this would go through TWG.
Akala ko
diba?
hindi lang ako updated sa mga happening eh. Bigla na lang siya lumabas.
What it was clear was like they snuck it through. They snuck it through. And first out of the gate, DGPI with our statement. Soon after, Actor. And then all of a sudden, and within a few days, wala pang isang linggo, isang dosena ng mga grupo na who raised the alarm. Guys, this is not, this is what this is really about. Diba? Alarm, 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 diba? Which tells me that A, we're paying attention, okay? And the point is that the only way we can make sure that this inane bills don't get through is by making sure everyone understands what's at stake. Okay? It's not just for creatives.
Exactly.
It really is. It's for everybody. And if everyone understands this, sana nga may mga consumer groups din na parang may nila, uy, ayaw namin to, diba? This is bad. It's gonna go backwards, 40, 50 years, diba? We don't want that, right? And we've learned the lessons. And if we want to benefit from this, this is not the way. This is not the way to protect our future. This is not the way to protect our country. This is barking up the completely wrong tree. So, ganun lang yun eh.
Sayang. But I wish we had more time to I've been given the light many times. The Medyo Serious Talk Show is on Tuesday every 9 p.m. at 1 News. Kung wala kang TV, tulad ko, go on your YouTube, type the Medyo Serious Talk Show on the search screen, and dun makikita nyo lahat ng episodes namin. Thank you so much, Keith Sicat of DGPI.
Yes, po.
Thank you so much, everybody.